32,
She
I'd rather be
still
doing
has a lot
1,000
less
other
going
things
on.
than sitting
She's
in a
making
car for 2
videos
hours.
about it
I'd
on
rather just buy
TikTok.
my
Here's the
airplane
thing, though.
ticket
At 42,
and go
she's
on
gonna
it
drive
than
3
waste
hours.
hours of my
At
life dating a
42,
guy
she'll
who
drive
doesn't
3
even know how to
hours.
plan a date properly. But what do you think? Off to the gym.
What do I think?
Off to the gym. Hold on. Get that.
She put on all of that war paint
All that more
to go
paint
to the fucking
To go to the
gym.
gym. Why do you think that is?
Okay,
But
so
we're not supposed to look at chicks at the gym, right? Because they're not doing it for us. They're not doing it.
No,
Bullshit.
not at all.
what do,
Oh,
so
God.
she asks, what do we think about the foundation? It's very simple. You know you're getting old when it takes twice as much time to look half as beautiful. That's what I think about a foundation.
I just think that, yeah, a woman's biggest prison is their lack of self-awareness. It's like she doesn't understand. She's literally trying to find an answer for a concept, and then she doesn't understand that while she's putting on makeup, her answer is right there. It's just because the
It's
younger
such an
women are just
oxymoron, isn't it?
prettier. Yeah, it's like you just don't see it. Like I've got to. This has got to be a troll. Like you don't understand this. Like, are you serious?
What one of the things I love about these videos of the older women complaining about men dating younger women is that they're like, oh, these guys, they can't handle us. They can't handle our attitude. And, they just want a girl that can be manipulated and stuff. It's like, okay, give me a choice of a woman that is genuinely fun to be around. That's not an epic cunt. Or give me a woman that's insufferable, a total bitch, and, just is genuinely disagreeable all the fucking time. Well, I'm going to go with the person that I get along with. Okay. I don't want to fucking battle. I got to battle Glenn Lawrence in September. I don't want to fucking battle a chick, Get the
It's
fuck
like,
out of
wait
here.
a minute. How dare you?
Wait a minute.
have
I
a
thought
life
you were
that's-
fighting Glenifer.
Glenifer.
No.
Yeah. Glenifer.
No. Oh, God. You're really going to get it now.
Oh boy.
That wedgie.
So
is
Paul,
gonna go-
the polarity between men and women is opposite. So those women exactly like that. There is a parallel with us men. Absolutely. Have you guys run into the guys that don't do so well with women? So therefore, every single woman they meet is not up to their standard, and they have a million reasons why not.
Yeah. They're called
Check that
MGTOW.
ego.
Are you talking about Sneeko again?
They gotta
Yeah.
change whole religions just to have younger women or something.
Oh, you mean like going from Catholicism to Islam?
I wouldn't know about that, but I do know that I can carry my hammer in, Norse mythology. Here we go. This one's important, guys. Listen to her.
I work in finance in a male-dominated industry, and I'm going to tell you why older guys date younger women. I have all these guys around me that I see doing that, and I asked 100 men, whether they're doing that now or not. I asked 100 men, why do you date younger women? And while I understand 100 may not be that huge of a pool, if every single one of them is saying the same thing, I think is pretty legit. So initially, I thought that they were dating younger women because younger women were prettier. But I came to understand that no, there are plenty of older women that will give a younger girl a run for her money, right? Very pretty older women out there. Looks has nothing to do with it. Every single guy, every single one told me that the reason that they like dating younger women is because they're easier to deal with. And I was like, what does that mean? Easier to deal with? And they said, well, she doesn't challenge me. It's not always a back and forth, back and forth. I just tell her something and it just is. And life is just much easier that way without someone always challenging you and asking you questions. Translation, younger women are more gullible. And if you're a young woman, this is not a knock on you. I was gullible when I was younger too, when I was in my 20s and 30s. But older women are no longer gullible. You know why? Because we have experience in dating. We have seen all the BS. We have seen all the games, and we can see right through it. Our BS meter is on point. And when a guy tries to BS us, we call them out, right? Because we know that's not true. However, if you're younger, you don't have the same experience, you're not going to do that. So older women understand that the reason that you are not being chosen has nothing to do with your looks or your age. It has to do with they think you're too smart. And younger women, please stop dating these old ass dudes, because one of the main reasons they want to be with you is because they think you're too gullible and you deserve better.
And the truth is, like,
So,
these older women, what this really does come down to, though, is competition. These women are trying to eliminate their competition.
Yes.
By talking smack. It's kayfabe, baby.
Is it? You know, it's like,
I know you guys started talking about it right when she said it, but I wanted the audience to really hear that because there is a reveal there. Let me rewind it because Paul picked up on it immediately, went at it. But I want you guys to really try to listen just a little bit to that because that's really the crux here. Let's see if I can get that a little bit. Okay, here we go.
If you're younger, you don't have the same experience, you're not going to do that. So older women understand that the reason that you are not being chosen has nothing to do with your looks or your age. It has to do with they think you're too smart. And younger women, please stop dating these old ass dudes because one of the main reasons they want to be with you is because they think you're too gullible and you deserve better.
Okay, there you go.
Or
interesting, Paul.
Or is it because
she told on herself?
Older women are just not agreeable.
No, I think she actually was right. It is because of the experiences. The older you are, the more experiences you have. The more experiences you have, the more chance you are of developing a bad attitude or damage. And younger women don't have those experiences. Yeah. They haven't. Most of them haven't been run through by 200 guys, or the one guy that was supposed to be their soulmate and wasn't. And they just have a different attitude about life. It's not. Yeah.
So, Laurel, you're in finance. This gal says her career is in finance here. You know, she's closing it. She's right around 50.
Mm-hmm.
Are they all like that at 50 when they haven't been married and don't have children?
So it's interesting because I know a lady. She's a bond sales lady, so she probably prints a ticket somewhere close to $1 million. And during her 20s and 30s, I've known her for a long time. She was, oh, but this guy doesn't have this, or this guy doesn't have that, or like blah 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 blah. Meanwhile, like as her income progressed, her dating pool shrunk, whereas as guys' income progress, our dating pool widens. We have a bigger pool, and I remember trying to tell her, listen, she was dating by the checklist because, of course, her life is perfect. She goes to the gym, she does this, she does that, and so on and so forth. I'm like, Mr. Perfect doesn't exist. And now she's 50. She got fired of her job. This lady actually was sitting not too many seats away from me. She's out of her job. Of course, she's got this money, but she's lonely as fuck. And she knows she's gonna die alone, but she's gonna die alone drinking not wine in the box. She's gonna die alone drinking good wine.
She's gonna drink that Cristal.
Oh yeah. And my immediate neighbor, I remember trying to. She said, "Oh, but if you know good guys, like introduce me to good guys." So introduce her to a bunch of dudes, and she would always find flaws with these guys. Yeah. Now she's exactly my age. We're born on the same day, the same year, and she actually is clinically depressed.
Yeah.
So she actually borrowed money from me that she hasn't given me back. Damn it. It's the one time.
Well, they definitely borrow their youth against that in the future. Now, this particular woman, I did go into her profile on TikTok as I was researching this, and I found something really interesting. There was another reason. There was two primary reasons I think she made the video. Number one, well, three maybe. She was venting, but Paul caught it at the last. She told younger women to stop. She's asking the sisterhood to stop allowing them taking, even though she blamed men for all the issues, she's telling her sisters to stop pilfering our men that we're owed, right? Mm-hmm. And then there was one other thing that she made the video for. I know she's selling. What do you think that would be?
Men, how to be better men for women our age.
Almost. She has become
a
relationship expert for older women. Can you believe it, Paul?
Not the pivot, the classic pivot.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I got a question for Wraith. Wraith, the first chick blames you. It's your old ass is the reason why all these younger women are damaged. Are you going to take the responsibility and own up to damaging these younger women?
You know what? The actual next part of the video answers it from a young woman's perspective. It absolutely does. And then we'll get Ray's comment. Check it out. Let's go ahead and get that back in there.
George, shout out to George Bruno.
Uh-oh. Where did it go? Nobody touched anything.
I didn't touch anything.
You gads. There we go.
Middle-aged
Normally it's
women
always
do
me.
not like to see an older man going for a much younger woman because it is a threat. But I don't know if it's necessarily a threat to like what they're thinking is going to be the impact on society. I think it's actually very personal. Like I think that even if they're married, right? They're not even in the dating world. So like why should they care?
Yeah.
But they still feel a threat because what it means. And what it means
Their
is
husband.
that older man
Yes.
wants younger. That means her husband
Yes.
wants
You
younger.
nailed it, Emily. You nailed it.
I think that's really, and that's like
You nailed
internal.
it. Yes.
Like I feel like I could almost like imagine that for myself, right? Like if I were married today and I'm hearing this story,
Yes.
I'd have a little bit of like fire in my stomach because that means, you know, if that's holding true, that means that my husband wants
you could
younger.
get traded in.
I could be traded in.
Yes.
That's not okay.
You know,
Hold on.
I was
So-
gonna say,
Look at Judy. You guys read Judy?
Oh, Judy.
Because older men take advantage of their naivete. Wrong. When you're an adult, you're responsible for all of that. That is
Yeah, like you're
incorrect.
not you know, I just think that old men are just dirty dogs and that just abuse these young women. And you know, it's just so sad because when they're 18, they're not adults apparently.
Well, let's don't be cynical about it. They actually offer far more advantages. Far more advantages. But like Judy Johnson's, and welcome, thank you. I hope you stick around because we actually are not slamming you. We understand that's what society has said, but it's not the case. But we have men out there that actually don't understand women. And this is really the sad part. They don't understand a real relationship interaction because at the final outcome is age is meaningless. It is absolutely meaningless. And Wraith and I'll talk a bit later about why that is when you see your wife or she sees her husband at any age. It's a really interesting concept and we can prove it. And I want you guys to get this video. This next video is the end of the older ladies, but this is an older man, but I categorized him as in the older lady group because this guy has an ulterior motive. And his ulterior motive snagged the girl here on the left, who is, by the way, his junior. I want you to see the sneakiness, and you can see that he is playing a particular role. And this particular role will actually show his complete inexperience with all women in understanding what drives their desires to acquire a mate. So here we go. This one's good. Pay attention.
You know, I'm not going to make friends with a lot of guys who are 45, 50 years old right now with this TikTok, who are dating women in their 20s, okay? Because I think I figured out why we do it. At age 45, guy my age dating a woman who's 25, it might be because I'm stuck as a man at the emotional maturity level of that 25-year-old woman.
emotional
Nothing wrong with her
maturity.
being emotionally
What?
25 as she is.
That is, guys, we all know it here. Let's let him play. It doesn't actually exist. This is a made up INTJ thing, astrology that comforts women. And what is he doing? He's comforting who? Let's take a look. Who's on his right up there? Let's continue.
25. There's a real problem with me being emotionally 25 if I'm 45. Walking around with my silver in my beard and in my hair, with my nice car, with my established job, I look like a safe place for that 25-year-old woman. She wants a guy who's going to
Putting
treat
out
her
his credentials.
maturely and
Okay.
fairly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she gets into the relationship with the guy who's 45, thinking he's going to treat her differently than that guy who's 23-year-old. Well, nope. It's a bait and switch, and it hurts worse than being hurt by a 23-year-old. Because you're 43, 44, 45, and you still haven't healed that wound as a man that you got when you were 23, when you came out of your first relationship. Here's to stopping using women who are in their 20s as emotional scratching posts, guys.
Dangerous.
Oh
Quit
God.
dating those women.
I
Go
hope
into
she
therapy.
sees this,
Actually
bro.
become that emotionally secure,
Oh
emotionally
my
available
God.
man.
This is bad.
And then if you still want to date somebody who's 25, you can do that and actually give emotionally what you're advertising with the silver in your beard.
There you go.
Now
See,
it's okay.
I'm
Or
the
just
guy
date
that's
somebody your own
emotionally
age.
available for 25-year-old
Thank
girls.
you,
So
guys.
my
You're all
DMs are open.
Hey, you know what?
DMs are open,
I love
ladies.
you.
I'm as emotionally.
I'm the guy that's emotionally available.
I am
Sorry.
as
It's all
emotionally.
about him.
My emotional youth is what Nuke looks like. Okay, that's how young my emotional availability is. All right.
Come on, Mike Steele. That's some game you can
I'm
have.
emotionally available for 25-year-olds.
Well,
DMs
you
are
Oh, man.
open.
Well,
DMs are
Look
open.
at Sub-Zero. I know my regulars love that shit.
know, so I want to highlight George Bruno's comment here.
Yeah, highlight. George, I didn't know George was in. He must be
Yeah.
one of George, you traitor. We met in Miami. Don't go to Glenn. Go to RP Thorne.
George, come to Glenn. Come
Go.
to Glenn.
Go over there. Come
He's
on.
not even
Come
on
on.
my channel, but he should come to me. George, I challenge you to a fade off. I will bring out
fade
my
off.
clippers out of retirement, and I'll go to your barber shop, and we'll have a fade off.
Ah,
Oh, wow. A fade.
you guys can
championship?
text it on me. I just got a fade.
between two barbers.
Heck yeah, me and George are gonna go at it. But I love his comment here.
Yeah.
He says, girlfriend was 20 years younger. My guy friends loved it. Women I know thought I was a traitor. I'm 63 years old, only from the neck up. My dad is 63 years old, and he's with a 36-year-old chick. This chick is you know what? It was so funny the other day. She called when I was visiting, well, before I moved from Vegas, she's like, or moved to Vegas, she was like referring to me as the kids. And I was like, that's cool. You could do that as long as you cut my crust off my sandwiches and you make my juice box ice cold. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't care. Like, I'm happy for my dad. I'm happy for my dad dating a girl younger than me. Like,
Let me ask you this.
Dad.
Does it even matter, Glenn?
No, it doesn't matter.
Ray, does it matter to you? Has it ever?
No.
18 and up, it's fair game, gentlemen.
And it doesn't matter to my kids.
Not according to Judy.
Well, Judy, you just need to hang out just a little bit longer because this is not actually the case. And as I get through the video, you'll actually see when you actually search for this as an issue, there's a select group that it's an issue for, but the vast overwhelming majority that it is no issue whatsoever is women between the age of 18 and 29. No effing problem.
Let me ask Judy this. When you were a younger girl, I'm assuming you're older, Judy. When you were a younger girl, did you like any male celebrities in their 40s? Did you like Johnny Depp? Did you find him attractive? Did you find any rock stars, any artists, politicians? Did you find John F. Kennedy attractive or something like that? Depending on how old you are. Not to be mean, Judy, but I'm just saying, like,
Do you think Eisenhower?
so what's the
was a
difference?
hunk?
Well, Nuke, there is no.
Like, yeah, like you're allowed. Like, you found older men attractive, right? So what changed? Do you see what changed in your life? You just got older. Like,
I'm gonna get to the rule of
those
thumb.
men are still, yeah.
I followed that rule of thumb that George is
Well,
pointing
I'm going to
out,
get to it and break it
but-
down in the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Did
We
you
can
guys
just go a little
see
further. We'll get
Coco's
it.
question for you guys? She has a question for the panel. I don't know if you want to get to it now or if you want to get to it later.
Let me see, because I want to. I'll start. Yeah. Let's start. That's a good one for later because we're going to hear from the younger women at the end. Okay, so let's start that one. Good catch, and we will continue on because at that point when we get to the younger women, I want to show to you guys on the sexual marketplace graph in terms of sexual market value that has been pretty much scientifically edified. And we'll show you why this is actually true and why older women are not real happy with the outcomes of it. And I'll show you the supporting stuff just so that there's a footnote to this as well. So let's go ahead and get back to what we like here. Oh, wrong one. Let's get to it. Here we go. So we liked that guy, didn't we? Here we go.
Yeah, that guy's a smooth son of a bitch.
Now,
He's
Like,
my hero.
For the younger
Large
women.
enough.
Okay.
What is your age gap?
Large enough.
Like what?
She's 24.
How
I'm
old are you?
42.
I'm pro age gap.
It's something that, for the most part, hasn't really affected our relationship.
Oh,
I think more than anything, it's just something that we don't try to pretend it's not something. I think we all like to be the exception to the rule. You have to be more honest with yourself that you are willing to do something despite the obstacles and despite the challenges.
Yeah,
and
I
things
think
like
in the
that.
end of the day, the reason I also never like to give a definite advice to people when it comes to their relationships, especially hardships, is that no one else is in the relationship except you. You're the one that's going to have to wake up with that relationship every single day. So I think it's not right to tell someone, oh, break up with them or this and this. If you love someone and you want to see if you can make it work, then try to make it work.
Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. She's 27, so this is okay. I mean, she's not like it's 18 and a 50-year-old. I mean, I'm 46, she's 27. I'm thinking that's what this person means.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the yelling is for, but I think they're standing up for me.
Yelling
So
me
if you
in
were-
all caps?
Yeah, like, she's 27. I read
Yeah,
it
I
yelling.
think she's sticking up for you, being
Yeah.
like, she's 27, it's okay. She's an adult. We can date. We can get married in November. We can do this. That's got to be what it is.
I think so. So if you were standing up for me, thank you. And yes, I am 27, so I do think this age gap is acceptable.
This is why I think that if you were in an
Oh,
age gap
God.
relationship, you
I
have to
already
be
know
kind
what
of
she's
careful about
coming
how
with.
you post about it on this app. I came across this video of a
Oh,
woman talking about her
geez.
age gap relationship. She was 30, I believe he was like 45. Both were fully grown, were fully independent, had full careers when they met and decided to get married. However, a large chunk of the comments on the video were people saying, oh yeah, I love seeing this. I'm 18 and my boyfriend is 35. Oh yeah, I'm 19 and my boyfriend is almost 40. I love seeing relationships like this. I met my boyfriend when I was 17 and he was 36 and we're very happy. And the creator was going through and liking and
questionable.
positively responding to all of those comments. Those are not the same thing. This is
Wait, so is she for
Carla,
or
restoring
against?
healthy mindsets
Oh.
is my thing. This is honestly personal preference, but if you are going to date older, here are the things that you should know. Let's start with the pros. When you date a guy that's much older than you, I'm talking about 15 to 20 years older than you, it is more alluring because they're more established. And because they're more established,
And
they
get
can
paid
offer
for
you
your
more
nails.
experiences. Second pro, they're more mature. Not always, but most of the time, their emotional intelligence is a lot higher than someone around your age because they have more experience. Third pro, I guess you could say they've already been pre-groomed or pre-poached where they know how to treat a woman. It's not their first rodeo of being in a relationship. So they might be able to understand you and what pleases you
give better
a lot
spankings.
more.
This is the best.
So
Listen
to clear
to
the
this
air,
woman.
everybody's always like, "Oh my gosh, like she used to train him when
This
she
is
was
the
a minor."
best, guys. You
Actually,
gotta
we
watch
trained
it.
with him. I didn't train with him. I was actually nervous to train with him, and the first time I trained with him, I was 18. So everybody can shut up about that.
Oh, so they're saying that you were groomed.
Yeah.
No, not the
No.
time.
Kind of what they're saying.
They're just like, "Oh my gosh, like this older man is training this young woman." Like, oh my gosh, because I was 16 when I first started going.
Does he date a lot of his trainees?
No, actually, he hasn't had a girlfriend for like 5 years.
He is 28. How old are you now?
He's 29 and I'm 19. I'll be 20 in December.
Ooh.
What do you mean? Ooh.
Yeah, Dave. I don't know if you have the
You
platform to
literally,
whoop that.
yeah. Your girlfriend is literally.
But 19 is young.
Thank you.
I dated a like 29-year-old when I was 19 too, and
You did?
So common. That's so common. Like all the older women that complain about this shit did the same fucking thing. You know,
That's the guy's wife. And he goes, you did? That's absolutely.
You never told me that.
Man. I know.
You were a
his
virgin
name?
when we first met.
I know it. Oh, guys, I got to make the stop and say, hey, like, subscribe to each one of our channels. It's RP Thor, Glenn Lawrence, it's Come On Man Podcast, and Nuke, what's the name of your channel?
It's just my name on here on the screen, but backwards Galileo Nuclear. So that's my channel.
Okay, good. Come and join all.
I'll put
of
it
us.
in the chat.
DragonShip crew, put it in the chat. And we got a comment I got to address because this is like the stupidest thing ever. Let's see. Let me jump up there. Guys, listen to this guy's name. I got to say something because this Wink Shaftesbury. That is one cool ass last name. I wish my name was Rock Wink Shaftesbury. I never wear shades as it's hiding, but I think I might. have some classic 80s style shades. Well, I'd recommend you get it. Or if you're anything like the men that are plus 60 years old, you might need specialized cataract glasses so you can watch the screen and have good time. Right, Wraith? They have not necessarily a purpose other than allowing us to actually see and read your comments. Wank Shaftberry, love the name, man. Glad to have you here. Like and subscribe. Please join the membership, and we will continue with the rule of thumb, which I know you guys wanted to talk about. And here we go. A little delay there.
So let's talk about age gap. How young is too young? The rule of thumb is half your age plus 7. So if you're 30, the youngest is 22. If you're 40, the youngest is 27. If you're 50, the youngest is 32. And if you're 60, look, you can date whoever you want.
Fuck yes.
Fuck, sorry, fell. Story time real quick, but I'm getting ready.
Young woman.
My fiance and I last night went to go get a drink at a local bar after dinner. This 50-year-old woman, she was 50, I think, attractive, but 50, comes up to us and goes, what does a 50-year-old like you have in common with a 20-year-old? Like, how does she even hold a conversation with you? Thank you. I'm 30, but I will take 20 any day. But I'm not 5. I have a career. Like, just, if I am
No
ever
competition anxiety.
50 and that bitter and that cunty, like, please remind me of this story. Like, who has the audacity to come up to someone that they don't know and ask that kind of question? We are 22 years apart, but how does that affect you? You are married. You were with your husband last night and you went out of your way to come up and ask us, thinking you might ruin our night, but we are laughing about you. Still, like, I'm telling everyone about this story because you must be so miserable and bitter in your own life that you have to come up to say that to someone.
Guys
And
won't come
you're
up
pretty. I mean,
and
like,
say something
you're
like that
pretty
to other
for
people
50,
because
but, like,
they know that they'll get punched
who
in the
does
fucking
that?
face.
Well, here's the
know.
reason is like that woman, that 50-year-old woman, and she's with her husband.
Yes.
And her husband sees this guy with his age with this younger girl, and her husband's like, wait a minute.
I could do
What
that.
am I doing with your old ass?
Exactly. And
Thanks.
she is like, she's doing damage control, right? She's thinking she has to make guard her husband in this sense by shaming this younger woman for being with this older guy. You know, it's also signaling to her husband, hey, this is wrong, just so you know. It's so wrong, I'm going to get up out of my dinner with you, and I'm going to go interrupt their dinner and let her know how wrong she is for getting with this older guy and how wrong this older guy is. Like, I'm going to socially control this situation. That's what they're doing.
So that he doesn't get any ideas.
Exactly. Just so you don't think about anything here, buddy.
So what she doesn't actually realize, which I hope Wraith will talk about this, is what happens to guys like me and Wraith when we're in a very, very fulfilling and loving relationship for multiple decades. Wraith, would you mind explaining what the marriage glasses are? Or, you know?
Yeah,
marriage goggles.
I for me, and I, you know, and you and I've talked about this too. I never saw my wife any different than I did when we first started dating. And, you know, we were married for 33 years.
Mm.
And she was still, you know, that 19-year-old that I started dating in my eyes. That's what I saw. Because it's not, in long-term marriages, it gets beyond the looks and all that stuff. And the attraction comes from the whole person. Because you don't fall in love, you know, with the body, you fall in love with I guess, in an esoteric way, the inner workings of that person, their soul, you know, and that's who you see. That's, you know, you see that same vibrant person, you know, even though they've aged, that you saw at 19.
Yeah.
And, you know, only in the life experiences inside a marriage only add to that if it's a good marriage. Now they do subtract if it's a bad marriage, I'm not going to lie. But you're not, even in a bad marriage, you're not falling out of love with the 19-year-old that you married. You're falling out of love with the behaviors.
But even for a man that's in a bad marriage, and you know, we have to all admit, we get into the door opens to a relationship because of the physicality. It has to be that way.
Right.
That's how nature designed it. That's why I'll get called on the carpet for saying it's all about the poon. But if you boil it down past all of that, the instinct and the true drives override. However, that being said, there is another instinct that keeps us hanging around, and that's those wife goggles. They actually do, when she offers enough added value that Wraith is talking about, we view her in such a light, even when she gets into her 50s and older. We see her exactly the way we saw her from the day that she added that value just beyond that physicality. We see it right there at the peak. Men will do that. And the better the relationship, the stronger those glasses are. And I can tell you this, ladies, when you think the grass is greener, even if it's not the best relationship, he still recalls the good times with those glasses on. Once you have devastated it and you've monkey branched to another man, those glasses fade quickly and you can never get them back.
And if there's trouble in the marriage, a woman has more of an opportunity to fix it than a man does. You know, because, you know, men view marriage as differently than women do. And women have an opportunity just to start adding that value again.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they add that value again, the man goes,
that's why you hear these Reddit stories.
Yeah. So we got a couple seconds left.
It's like that veneer we see women we love.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So let's see. I think she adds one more gem here.
No, I'm just gonna say that. Oh, okay.
Is there a delay?
Yeah, it's Nuke. He's talking. Nuke, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was just gonna say that one of the reasons, like, you hear these Reddit stories where the guy finds out about the girl's like promiscuous past, like she admits to a very, very high body count or something that she did in her college days.
Mm-hmm.
The guy loses that kind of like the wife goggles instantly. Like he can't even look her in the eye anymore. So
that is a very big risk. And once they're gone, guys.
Yeah.
You can never see her again.
He once he finds out that she did anal with somebody else and won't do anal with him, he's like, wife goggles gone.
Right. Right.
They like fly off you.
What the pain is got. I mean, let's be honest. Even with exes, there is still a little bit for men. They still can kind of see a little bit. I'm not going to discount it always because I've counseled men that still wish it went a different way. And when they think of it that way, their wife goggles stick out. And I think George can see it that way too. If you can see, you know, his 6-year-old ex is still a smoke show, but many more miles on her since she was 20. True enough.
Well, and we always find that virtue in women.
Yeah.
That, you know,
it helps us stick around.
Right. And we hold on to it too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
it's comforting for us. Yeah.
Right. At least tells us we didn't make a bad choice overall.
Right.
Exactly.
And yeah, exactly.
You know what? If you guys send me a super chat, I'll tell you why the age gap is biblical.
We'll get there, Glenn. But you got to send Glenn a super chat. Here we go.
Like, please, you guys, don't be cunty and bitter. Like, be kind. Like,
Still
it was just unattractive for her. And, like, really sad. So, that's my story time as a 31-year-old dating a 54-year-old.
54.
When we go out, something happens. So maybe I need to start documenting everything that happens. Like, my best friends say that I need to wear a camera on me because this happens all the time.
It does.
Always. So maybe stay tuned for more of this because why not make jokes out of it? Like,
and I don't want to hear you speak. I don't want to hear you talk. Everybody and I don't want to hear you speak.
When they get upset if you date younger, when they do the exact same.
Not so much.
Women our age,
all the girls that are being
women our age are more likely to be in relationships than men, which makes you think, who is everybody dating at the end of the day if the women aren't dating the men?
Yeah. What crosses my mind is I think there's perhaps two explanations. One, women in that age group are dating older men, 30 to 40. But I think the bigger thing is that women are maybe think they're in a relationship or are in a relationship and they're sharing higher quality guys. So, and there's this concept called hypergamy.
The club, whatever not. In 10 years, they're going to be 30, trying to settle down, and realize that all the good guys are taken. They're going to complain that they were ran through their whole life, but while they were partying for the past 10 years, all the good girls got cuffed by the good guys. And so now, when they look at all the men that are options, they're going to be competing with the now 20-year-old good girls and be stuck. Why? Because all the good guys are gone. You missed your chance being a fucking whore, bitch.
Wow.
And I thought
Look at that truth bomb.
Yeah, look at he's red pilling them, man.
You
Look at that
whores.
red pill, huh?
Wow.
And so she just brought up both of them. I mean, there was a bit on the hypergamic nature, and I want to point you guys to this, and we're gonna just chop the shit out of this. Look at this. We all know who did this. This is the godfather of the red pill, so called,
self-proclaimed.
Well, no, no, we proclaimed him.
Exactly.
Vasectomy king. King vasectomy.
Yeah. Take a look. This is probably one of the most important ones because it's held up the longest because it's based on it's based on Dr. Marty Hazelton's work, Dr. David Buss's work. There is a lot of quantitative data that goes behind this. And I will even show you. So this is the age difference, and this is the sexual market value over here on the left-hand side of the screen. This is 1 through 10, which is most common. And then here's ages 15, which is sexual maturity for women. Men are a little less than that, and you can see that reflected here. And then it stretches all the way to 70, and the ratings are done through this. This is really interesting.
You know what?
Pat,
I don't mean to interrupt, but the only arguments I ever see from women and white knights and stuff about this chart is that it starts at 15. That's the argument. They're like, "Oh, look at this! Is he promoting,
No, we're just going on
pedophilia?" And it's like you're missing the point of this. You're just trying to
it's just basic science, and you can see that there's actually see how it's cut off right there, and the age is 15. There's actually some maturity levels that go below that. When we talk about sexual maturity level, that's kind of like, is she old enough to go to the baker's by herself? Well, then she's old enough to get bread. That's an old axiom that says, look, you got to be careful of your now teenage pubescent girls that just went through puberty because they are capable of having babies regardless of the age. We're not condoning anything. In fact, they're still children in our book. But as far as sexual market value, they start to become valuable to men of all ages, including men down here at their exact same age.
Yeah,
I'll tell you a dark truth about younger women too. They lie about their age on social media and on stuff like Omegle chats, so they can just be on older men's radar. Not that doesn't mean they'll do anything, but they want to be desired by older men, even at that age. And it's a really dark truth. And I've interviewed several women that I've dated and their friends. And a lot of them, they lied about their age when they're like 14, 15, 16. They get on Tinder, they get on Omegle, and they don't do anything, right? But they like to flirt with older men. And we don't know because their age is not, we think they're 19, 20, So,
and you realize that in the history, this is relatively new because 150 years ago, as soon as she was sexually mature, I mean, let's just not pull any punches. We're talking 13 and able to have children. She was so valuable that dowries were created and she was moved off into her husband as fast as they possibly could. This is a man's age versus the age of the woman who looks best to him. And there is tens of thousands of surveys conducted here. It never went as far as the best past 24. And here's the ages of all the men in that thing. So that brings us to a really valid point, guys. Let's bring up the chart again for older men. So what I've done is I've actually straight lined a little bit of this just to kind of make fun of it and also to have some fun with it. So it's easy pickings, gentlemen. If you are a man that's 50 years old, right here on the left-hand side of the screen or the right-hand side of the screen, you can straight line the SMV because remember, in hypergamy, she dates equally or up, right? So if you're looking into score, you can go straight across all the way to right where it's even. And lo and behold, that's 29. Very, very interesting. And that's just if you're the average dude's got his stuff together here. I mean, we're talking SMV right there. So here we go. We'll move straight across and we're looking at that now. If you're 60, Look at this. You can go all the way to where? Wow, look at that. Right into what? 30, 30, 35, 36, all the way to the end. Easy pickings here. Now, if you looked somewhat younger and behaved somewhat younger because you are full of vital energy and you were thriving as a dominant masculine presence, this would probably creep into this area here very, very easily. What do you guys make of this fun chart? Probably not going to make the ladies very happy. But ladies, these are the guys. If you're here.
My question after looking at this chart, I wonder, why does black pill exist?
The options are immense if you think.
That's what I'm just thinking. I'm just wondering, like, why does black pill even exist? Like,
so guys, which gap is most important? Glenn, the age gap. Is it the biggest priority out there?
No, it's the thigh gap.
What was that?
The thigh gap's the most important.
Which gap is the most important?
The thigh gap.
Ah, so the chart showed which gap is actually the most important?
The thigh gap.
And and that gap is between what?
The thighs.
What about the age gap? Did we not show scientifically which gap is the most important?
We should show them scientifically.
Guys, what are your thoughts around the chart before we hit the super chats and really chop this up? Anybody?
It's a pretty good, interesting thing to look at, the chart. It's pretty fascinating. It's hard to refute it though. And I think instinctually women know that their value is tied to their youth and beauty. That's why they, as they get older, they spend so much money on plastic surgery. They got, they overdo the makeup. They start, maybe if they're smart, start hitting the gym a little bit, because they know it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And, we know there's exceptions. Of course, the Pareto principle occurs, but there are some instinctual things going on here that lie at the lizard brain level. 100%. Now, Lauren, I saw you raise your hand, but I would be curious, just knowing there's exceptions. I have an age gap in my relationship.
Me too. Yeah.
You too?
Yeah.
I have a thigh gap too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. A small one. It's the thigh gap. That's the most important.
I have a thigh gap and then there's an age gap.
Yeah, I got both.
What about you, Nick? Are you in a relationship right now or no?
I have one or two casual plates, but one of them, she's trying to move to main squeeze, and she is 25 and I'm 34, so 9-year gap. And I've been seeing her since she was 23. So
good.
Oh, you robbing the cradle, you.
What about you, Laurel?
Yeah.
I have a funny story about that actually. There's a 10-year different. There's a 10-year age gap with my wife, and it's interesting. The day we got married, somebody said, "Oh, but your husband is so much older." And then the day after that, I got a kite surf accident and I nearly died. I was wheeled into the ICU with 3 broken ribs. And I remember, like, I was telling her, "Oh yeah, but your husband is so old." And I said, "Don't worry, baby girl. When I'm 60, the next one will be 20." And then the next day, I'm wheeled into the ICU, and then she starts poking my broken ribs.
No. You gotta be smart. Interesting. So there is gaps that exist for all of us, and of course, thigh gaps. The big question with the big priority is viewed from the front or viewed from the back. Let's go around the panel. Front or back for the gap? Which is better?
I mean, I'm a connoisseur of both.
No, you got to pick one. Only one.
You know what? I'm gonna go for the back.
All right. With a little bit of light shining through.
This is a tough question.
I'm gonna say from the front because I think from the front it's a little bit harder to attain.
Oh, interesting. With a little backlighting, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Wow, this is a really interesting. Thank you, Coco. We know where to look now. Okay.
I'd say front. My argument is front because there are some special women on this planet where if you see the thigh gap from the front, you can also see like the booty cheeks from the front too. If they have a nice butt, and that is like Valhalla.
There we go.
I don't know if you,
There we go.
have you guys seen that? Like a woman.
Nuke's a booty guy.
You
He's-
know, but that's
I guess
my
it's-
case, Fred.
Yeah,
I'm a booty guy. So.
but yeah, but you can also screen from the front in case there's a buck knuckle.
That's true. Unless I mean,
yeah. Oh, not the buck knuckle. Camel toes over buck knuckles, gentlemen.
All day.
I have half a mind to Google that, but maybe it's best that I don't.
Yeah, it's best.
Don't.
Just don't.
Probably see someone on.
You'll end up on the John Anthony lifestyle train.
No. We got to be a little bit. So the age gap thing is a perennial thing for sure. I personally have actually seen a couple of good relationships where the thigh gap, or there's still a thigh gap, but it's not back, it's not front. But the age gap is between the woman and the man by about 3 to 7 years. And I think it can work to an advantage as they age. And I'll tell you why. Because competition anxiety gets worse and worse for her. And her behavior is amazing. And I've witnessed this at least 3 times. So there is a strategy to that because, for a connoisseur such as myself of the thigh gap, age does not matter as far as the legal span is concerned. But I'm a god amongst men. So what do you guys think about the age gap? I mean, what's your honest opinions here?
All right. So since I got my super chat, I'm going to go ahead and say it now because I got to get ready to go to the studio.
Okay. You want to do super chats now? Let's do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, because I got the super chat in and it answers this question. Biblically,
which one is it, Nick? Okay. Thanks, Nick.
Biblically, thank you, Nick. Biblically, Ruth and Boaz had a 40-year age gap.
Ooh.
And God blessed her.
Yeah.
She was blessed. 40-year age gap. Boaz was 80 years old. Ruth was 40 at the time they got married. She remarried a 80-year-old guy, but still, I mean, the age gap. There was an age gap. You got.
It didn't seem to have any problem at all.
No. There's a 12 or 15-year age gap between Sarah and Abraham. And mind you, Sarah referred to Abraham as Lord, lowercase L. Lord. And it's been so highly referenced that she's even referenced in the New Testament for calling him Lord with their age gap. So I think that, age gap is this problem with the age gap is a manufactured thing from old Bettys that are single and alone with their box wine and their cats, and they're mad that guys like Wraith are not going to date them. So it's all Wraith's fault.
Well,
okay, since you're blaming me, I've dated a broad spectrum of women in different ages, from older to me to younger than me. My current relationship in marriage is with someone that's 33 years younger than me. And, my other 2 marriages, my first wife was 5 years older than me. And my second wife was 10 years younger than me. So it doesn't matter to me the age. What matters to me is the woman.
Yeah.
If she brings value to me, that's what I care about. And in my current relationship, my wife brings value to me. And, she wants to live the same kind of life that I live. And that's what's important.
Dang.
So the age gap doesn't matter to me. Does it matter to people when they see us out in public? Evidently it does, because, she constantly, and they don't do it to me. Most men I walk by and they see that, they smile.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never had a man wince or anything about the relationship, but I've had plenty of women look at my wife and think, or, make odd faces or show their disapproval of her being in a relationship with me. And they're not young women.
No, they're always older women.
They're always older women. And, you know, and I would say it's probably in the 40, 45 range all the way up to the 60 to 70 range.
Yep.
You know, which would be, I guess, logically my dating range. But this, you know, they're in my dating range if I was dating. But the other side of it is, you know, I just found one that adds value to my life. And all three of my wives have added value to my life. And that's what my expectation is. You know, you asked earlier, you know, do the kids care? My kids don't care.
They just don't like they don't like the truth that our dating range is anything that's walking and female. Pretty much.
You know, have I dated 20-year-olds? Yes, I've dated 20-year-olds since I was about 59.
Yeah.
You know,
curious, have you dated any 65-year-olds?
I did date one 65-year-old. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You know,
fair enough.
And like I said, it's not about me, their age. It's about how they interact with me.
Right.
And like I said, I find that, you know, my last two wives have both been younger than me. And I found that they just didn't, the experiences they had weren't bad experiences in their relationships.
Yeah.
And when you bring those into your life, you know, it's okay. But it has nothing to do with me wanting to be 22 again.
Right.
You know, it has to do with, am I happy? And does that person want to share the same life that I want to have, you know, for the rest of my life, whatever that is.
Yeah, and it's more than that, because I know you. It's more than happiness; it's fulfillment that you're getting. You know, and this is for you, Wraith. We'll clap a bunch. That's applause. I don't have a better sound drop than that, but absolutely. I want to get to Nuke on this question and then go around table. I want to end with Wraith. So I'll pick. So Coco, a very strong supporter of the DragonShip, has a question for the panel. If a woman gets traded out for a younger model, which is the existential fear of all of the women as they age, is that a woman's version of being zeroed out?
Yeah, I read that and I think it's true.
Okay. What is the impact of it then?
I wonder if I don't think women are
100% on board with that.
I don't think women are unaliving themselves over it, right? When guys get zeroed out, they tend to unalive themselves, you know. I think that might be the difference there.
Control Alt Delete.
The recovery period on this one is far different because I've witnessed it in my experience and what I've read about. So while I think in concept you could say that,
I'd say that,
there's a lot of legal protections and revenge tactics to alleviate her fear of zeroing out.
Well, I mean, but it's when men get zeroed out. I mean, let's face it. Not every man that gets zeroed out commits suicide. All right, some of them go into the black pill. Yeah, some of them go into the black pill. Some of them recover. But for women, it does zero them out, but the behavior of that is different for women. I mean, go on TikTok, you can see half the women population have been zeroed out. They're on TikTok talking about how men ain't shit. But, you know, and they don't seem to understand that if they can't forgive and move forward, then they're going to be single. And men aren't going to be, they may get a date, but a man's not going to be attracted long-term to that bitterness. You know, no more than a woman would be long-term attracted to a man that was bitter.
Right.
You know, so they're zeroing out.
agree,
Are they killing themselves in numbers? No. But are they basically placing themselves in a place where they're going to be alone for the rest of their life? Yeah.
And that's for a lot of women. That's worse than that's the equivalent of unaliving.
But when you look at the numbers,
because it's just a terrible existence.
Men don't typically do that. That is extremely rare. And you can look at it and you can look at the basis, even though that's your fear, and you might know a woman that says this. In all likelihood, it is the woman that will do the divorcing. We have the statistics to show that. And we actually have the statistics that even if a man trades out, he basically, it would have to be a love situation for him to want to do that, because most men don't typically do that. They stay with a loving wife. There is some accountability that goes along with that woman getting traded out for a younger model. It is not as common as women would have you believe. There is an entire industry that is based around that fear. So by taking a singular exception that is actually quite rare, while it still feels very scary, it is extremely unlikely to happen. Women are far more resilient. They have protections against this. The court system is completely unfriendly. If a man does this, men are scared to do this at this point because they have financial exposures, they have status exposure, and this has done nothing but collapse since the 1960s and 70s. Men aren't doing this that they were. They don't. They really don't. The vast majority of men would love to stay in a happy marriage or relationship. Not even happy, just one that's reasonable.
And I want to say something to that. Okay. If you're sitting here and you're, a man or a woman looking at this, say, well, he's been married 3 times. What does he know about marriage? I've never been divorced. So you figure that out.
It only ends 2 ways. It only ends 2 ways. But Wraith, so for those that haven't watched this yet, math is not their strong suit, but marriage only ends in 2 ways. One of them is divorce. The other is death. So it's a good question, but the question is about asking for extremely minor situation that is extremely fearful. And if you think about it, women have far more options in that situation than a man does. Men are actually shunned for this behavior, and it has social status impacts from both men and women that are far greater than it is for a woman that branches out. 100 times worse. So
well, but you've got to add the social concept of it is men lose half of their estate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they not only do they lose the person in their life, they lose everything that they've worked for, or at least half of everything they've worked for,
and children.
So being zeroed out for men, the valuing is more extensive. And that's why I think you see more men, going to the ultimate decision, as opposed to women.
More common than we would like to think.
Right. But like I said, I think it does. It equates to them being zeroed out. There's just different.
I would actually disagree just because of the intensity. I think it would be something more along the lines of an existential fear, but not zeroing out, just because of the legal ramifications. Please speak up, panel. It's okay if we disagree.
There's always.
I would say, well, women zero out. Go ahead, Lauren. I would say that zeroing out for women it's like a different kind of paradigm and way they go about it, right? Like, man, we lose our stuff, and we have to become basically a phoenix and rise and maybe rebuild our reputation, maybe try to fight for our kids back or see them when they're 18, or whatever. Men have to be a phoenix. But with women, once let's say a woman gets traded in for a younger girl, really the zeroing out for them is the bitterness that they feel towards men. So from that point on, they probably won't be able to pair bond with a man that they love, and because simply they're just too bitter. They become black pill. Like, women become black pill. Like, and I've dated older women, and here's an example. I had been texting an older woman, and this woman is a pretty Mexican milfy, very beautiful, but she had been divorced, she had kids and all that stuff. But like, she was getting surgeries, constant surgery after surgery to like keep up with the younger women. And then every time I was out, out dancing or just out with my friends or something, or interacting with my female friends in a picture, she would text me and be like, "Oh, you're out with other women," right? And that's that bitterness that she probably got traded in by a younger woman from her husband. That never goes away. Yeah. So men, we suffer, and I'd say we suffer more intensely fast. But you see post-divorce men 10 years after, and they're doing fine. Look at Paul. Paul's killing it right now, right? So men, we as long as we have our head in the right place, and we kind of work, and kind of rise out of the ashes like a phoenix, we're able to long term get back and even come back stronger and more level-headed. But women, once they go through these these yes, they get a lot out of the divorce and all that stuff, but something they'll never get back is their ability to pair bond and have that youthful energy. They're broken, almost permanently broken. A lot of women just don't ever get that pair bond.
You just made me think, is it not maybe alpha widowing that's the true zeroing out of a woman?
That might be it.
I haven't really thought of it in those terms yet, but because of the back and forth, could that be an equivalent?
It's they get blackpilled. Yeah, they become femcel. Basically, femcel is a woman that goes on Twitter, complains about men all day, becomes super feminist, older, gets a whole bunch of surgeries to keep up with younger women, goes on TikTok to make videos of shaming men for that's the femcel. That's a woman that's so bitter that can't no longer pair bond with any man because simply she just got her life ruined by
could it be that she just had bad girlfriends and became an insufferable bitch, so he had to leave?
Yeah, and there's that too. Of course.
Well, see,
that's actually the number one cause of divorce.
I think that's the key, right? Because someone like me in my position, right? I went through divorce, got into a relationship that ended, and then I really wanted to evaluate what was I doing wrong? How do I fix myself? And you can't fix yourself without that kind of self-awareness. So women can absolutely do that. They can look at their past relationships that failed and stop blaming the dudes and go, okay, all right, what the fuck am I doing wrong here? Am I being an insufferable bitch? Do guys like that? Maybe not. Maybe let's read a book The Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands or something like that, right? Dr. Laura, classic. My girlfriend, nurse chick, her mom was complaining about her husband the other day, and nurse chick straight up told her, she's like, "Mom, you're an insufferable bitch." She's like, this is what the problem is. Maybe try not nagging him for 1 week. Just try not fucking nitpicking and being pissed at every little thing that he does for 1 week.
Yeah, because that's self-fulfilling. Sure.
Yeah, and see what fucking happens. And but a lot of guys are like, oh, women have no accountability and stuff like that. I think humans in general don't have any self-accountability. They've never been taught self-accountability. So it's not just the women. It's a lot of men don't either. That's how men end up in the black pill, because they have no accountability. They don't want to look at themselves and go, how do I fix myself and fix myself? Therefore I can go forward and have success. Because older women, it's not over for them. There's plenty of older women that are in good shape that can attract men. And if they were pleasant to be around, guys will want to be around them. It's simple.
Oh boy. They actually have the experience to be pleasant and add that extra value that a lot of guys would freaking jump on. Mm-hmm. But they're not aware of it for whatever reason. The majority aren't. And the ones that do they get snapped. They do get snapped up. They absolutely do. Let me hit the super chat. Mike Steele. Let me go ahead and give this man what he deserves, which is the war horn of glory. Mike Steele, $5 super chat. Guys, we're supported by super chats, and we thank every one of you, especially the members that join RP Thor membership and the membership for Come On Mad podcast. We really appreciate that. As of course, Glenn Lawrence. Worst one I hear is, why are you dating a 20-year-old? You can't even get drinks together. Why is getting drunk with a woman your default date idea? interesting assumptions that you would hear something like that, because, you know, for me, I don't drink, but I know a lot of guys that don't drink and date younger women. So, why would it be that drinking would go with that? I don't know. Probably because they're projecting.
Yeah, well, I want to echo what Nuke said before about aging. You know, the good news about guys, like guys who age well, we age like Sean Connery. The bad news about girls, they also get to age like Sean Connery.
I think I think that women have the same opportunity as men do when it comes to aging. Matter of fact, they probably have more opportunity because there's more beauty products and stuff out
More
there.
options.
You know, but I mean, the thing is, you know, just like Nuke was saying, after a divorce, what does a man do? He starts going to the gym and he starts, you know, trying to figure out what's wrong with him. Why did it fail? Most women don't do that. You know, they've got their income because, you know, the settlement from the divorce, and that's what I was saying. It's the same thing, but it's the way we deal with it differently. You know, and men tend to do things in the extreme, like fix themselves, or the ultimate decision. Women tend to ride the entitlement wave. Now, he did that, and I should be entitled to him not doing that, and that's where the bitterness comes from. You know, and we've talked a lot. You know, what are you looking at in divorces now? Men are doing the same thing. I should be entitled to this. You know, we want a level playing field. Is all we really want. But even if you look at the men's groups and stuff, they combating divorce. I mean, they're going overboard. You know, with what they think men should get. What do I mean going overboard?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
because nothing's happened other than noise, right?
Right, noise. But I'm saying what they're asking for. You know, they're asking for, you know, alimony and those kind of things.
Yeah, just ridiculous. Yeah.
You know, so they want to be treated like women.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, and that's not something I want.
No.
You know, but like I said, a good man, a quality man, well, he'll do that. He'll rise from the ashes.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what makes us men.
That's right. You know,
that's the beauty of being a man, and literally no one should take that away from you. Yeah, it's great.
Right. It's understanding struggle and learning that struggle is real, and that we have to overcome struggle. And
so these older gals are struggling with us being attracted to younger women, which is in our nature, but we understand why.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, to equate what the two that, you know, Coco was asking, I think it is, but how we cope with it's different.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I got to think about it more. I kind of lean more towards alpha widowing is more of the equivalent, because she doesn't.
Well, but couldn't that be a part of being zeroed out?
Yeah.
She's lost her best, and that's never going to happen to her again. I mean,
so also you could ask the question. I think maybe the cat lady with the wine box is the actual effect of the zero out, regardless of the past, for a woman. You know, complain, have the cat box, tick-tocking. That's a harsh place to be, because you're just complaining about everything for here on out. And by God, that's okay. I won't settle for less.
Well, and it's the same thing if they go to start living for their grandkids. What effect does that have on their kids? You know, it puts them in a position. It puts their kids in a position where, you know, they have to put up with it, or have to say, look, you have to stop coming over here. We don't want to see that much. You know.
Oh, so, I got 12 grandkids. We haven't had that problem, so I'm not familiar with that one at all.
But I'm just saying there are women that, you know, their only focus is their grandkids.
Oh, the mother-in-law, the single mother-in-law.
Yeah, they become the monster-in-law. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know, so it takes all different forms, and you know how we cope with it as men are different than how women cope with it, but it's the same result. You know, there's something's been taken away from them that they feel they deserve.
And this is what I'll make a point of. A guy like Ray that could teach you frame control, or Paul, or even younger guys like Nuke and Laurent. When you have that kind of control over your frame, how you project your masculinity, even if you had a mother-in-law like that, they would know where their boundaries are because you've set them.
Right.
There is not going to be a step over. And honestly, I think most would actually appreciate that because it makes them feel secure in that a man is leading that entire family structure. We used to call that a patriarchy.
Right. I don't think men ever refer to it as patriarchy. I think women.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just called it normal. We call it normal. Yeah, a normal man doing what he needs to do. Hey, I got to stop right here and thank everybody in the chat, man. I just got to call some of the guys. George Bruno, thank you. E. Jones, fantastic. Sub-Zero dropped by today. Angels Among Us over there with Paul. Danny Arnold with everybody. Let's see. And Wank Shaftberry for the best possible name. I really hope your first name is Rock. Wank Shaftberry would be the most amazing wrestling name ever. Mike Steele, and we sure appreciate everybody. Coco, we had quite a few people stopping in. There's a lot of people up there right now. Thank you again for coming in here and actually engaging in the chat, sending in your super chats. Love it. Thank you again. And we're getting closer to the end of the stream, so let's go ahead and let's start with a final thoughts roundup as we get towards the end here. What do you guys say? Let's start with our good buddy from all the way from Tokyo. What time is it in Tokyo, Laurent?
The show started at 3 in the morning, somewhere like this, and now it's 4:41 in the morning.
Well, man, thank you for joining such a jam-packed show today. We really appreciate it. There is so much more coming, and we hope that you continue to be an anchor on the Dragon Ship. Give us your final thoughts.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, I mean, as men, we always be attracted to younger women. It's funny because from time to time, I was listening to a channel. The guy's name is SSM, and he talks about he reads Reddit from everywhere, and there's always like these things about like let's have an open relationship kind of thing, blah blah blah, and then which of course is never a good idea when you're about 20 years in a marriage, and then all of a sudden, the guy the guy gets a younger girl, and the leader, wait, let's close that thing. So and listening to what he does on YouTube, it's kind of funny to listen to that. But yeah, as men, we are naturally attracted to this. And Sacha Guitry, a French author, used to say, "Never be mean. Ne soyez pas méchants avec les femmes. Le temps s'en charge. Don't be mean to women. Time is cruel enough already."
Oh, very good. Laurent, you have an Instagram, anything like that? We can get a hold of you.
Instagram, yeah, but I'm not really active. I'm on LinkedIn. I mean, most of my stuff is pretty much professional, so like finance related or whatever. But I don't have a particular social handle yet. I'm talking with a couple of people. Oh, by the way, I've been interviewed. I think it'll come out today, about doing real estate in Japan.
And people are going to want to get a hold of you.
You can find me on LinkedIn for pretty much everything. I mean, all the classics, even Twitter. And my handle at Twitter is LB_ASC ask. My name, Laurent Bernu on LinkedIn. I don't have much of a social presence though.
Yeah, fix that, buddy. You're an important guy. Thank you, man. Appreciate you coming on. Nuclear Caldero. You have
so first off,
yeah, give us your final thoughts where we can find you, what you got next. Well, you got an up and coming YouTube channel.
Yeah. So guys, I just hit 500 subscribers on YouTube a couple days ago, and I want to thank everyone that supported me, the Dragons, Cappy, everyone that had me on. So yeah, I appreciate all the support, and I'm still growing. So as long as you guys support, I will be continuing making content. Also, final thoughts. First off, thanks you guys for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity. And final thoughts, guys. Like my message is for the younger guys, right? Because I'm like that link between the experience we have on the panel and then the younger guys that are like 18, 19, 20, trying to make sense of the world. Listen to the way both men and women talk about what they want you to do with your own genitals and your own life, right? and understand that. And if you want to be happy, you have to make yourself your point of origin and realize if you're 50, you want to date 20, you do that. And that's it. You don't need to check in with anybody. You don't need to check in with mom or dad or society or your neighbor or her mother or your female friends. You do it. That's it. All these discussions on podcasts, whether it's good or bad, like obviously we're talking about it, right? But at the end of the day, the red pill is about you making a decision what's best for you. And if that's what you want and you're willing to work for that, then you do it. End of discussion. There's nothing to talk about with anyone about what you do with your own life, your own body. And that's my message, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. We appreciate that. World Manosphere champion and all around super good guy, my good friend, Paul from Come On Man podcast.
That's right. Summer Smash, September, Las Vegas. Mark your calendars because I'm going to put that jabroni Glenn Lawrence in the ground. All right. That being said, when it comes to dating younger, George Bruno brought it up earlier. I don't think we talked about too much. There's that rule of thumb, the half your age plus 7. It's pretty common rule of thumb. I used to follow that when I was dating. It worked well for me because when I would date, chicks in their mid 20s or whatever, I didn't really like them that much. I didn't find that much in common. That's not so much of a problem for other guys, but for me it was. So the half the age plus 7 worked for me, but it's not a real rule. All right. I'm pretty sure women made up that rule. Honestly,
Paul, I got to bring this up one more time, just so that rules have been around a long time.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, we did the study, but look at this.
Mm-hmm.
60 half plus 7. It comes out to 37. It comes out exactly along these lines of that sexual market.
Yeah.
Isn't that freaking amazing, man? That's
Look at
crazy.
that science. But yeah, I mean, like it's an arbitrary rule. Like if you enjoy younger chicks and you can pull younger chicks, fucking do it. Fucking do it. And then ladies, if you're a little bit older and you're a little jaded that the guys your age are going for younger women, why don't you date an older man yourself? All right. Like a chick that's in her late 30s can easily find an attractive man that's in his late 50s, probably, 60s, or there's guys out there for you. Okay. You have options. Women always have more options than guys. Just don't be an insufferable bitch. I think that's the number one actionable piece of information we could provide for the ladies on here. Men are not attracted to insufferable bitches. I don't care what these older women are like. Oh, he just likes this girl because he's not being challenged. Yes. Fuck yes. So be like that. Be like that. Be a little more agreeable. Be a little more pleasant to be around, and you'll be fine. You'll do just fine. So that's my closing thoughts. Oh, subscribe to the podcast, comeonmanpod.com. I'm available on all major podcast platforms. Speaking of old dudes dating younger women, my guest on Monday is my brother David, 3% brother David. He's going to be talking about dating. He's 58 right now. He's dating a chick, I think in her late 20s, and he's doing great. He's doing great.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's great.
It is nature's perfect solution. Thank you, Paul, man. I really appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Race Dientor, my good compatriot.
Yeah, if I have any advice, if I give advice to the women, it would be don't enter a relationship with your baggage and think that the next guy deserves to fix that for you. Fix that before you get into the relationship. Because I'll tell you, the one thing I've told everyone I've ever dated, I'm not paying for anything that any other man that you think has done to you. I'm just not doing it. So be healthy, psychologically, be healthy physically, and men will be attracted to you. For the guys that, are dating younger women, go for it. I mean, it's about who you bring into your life, and you have the power over that. When we talk about frame statements and stuff like that, that's one of the things you should have in your frame statement, or at least in your mind when you're thinking about how you're going to live your life. You have the right to have people that you enjoy being with in your life. That is your right. If you don't enjoy being with them, move away from them. Put them out of your life. You know, and that's everybody. That includes family, kids. If you've had kids and your kids are making you miserable, you have an obligation to them, and the obligation is to love them. It's not endure them. You do not have to endure anyone in your life that creates a situation for you that you feel is untenable. So that's my advice. The hard truth is, to be a man is not easy. And to be a man that creates his own happiness is even harder. It takes strong decisions, and it takes will. And if you're not practicing that in your life every day, then you're going to live at the whims of other people. That's all I got.
Thank you, Ray. Always fantastic. I'll make this real brief. You can find me right up here at becomedurable.com. I'm going to take us out. Of course, it's RP Thor. You can find me on Rule Zero. You can find me here on the Dragon Ship, the Trident, and wherever else my patchy little beard butt shows up. I'm going to take you out with some fun kayfabe from my good buddies. Until next time on the Dragon Ship, Skol.
Cause me and my clique, we don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck, nigga. Trick Daddy, you got it, gang. Let's go. If you know that you can get it, let me know. Let me know. I'm about to fuck a nigga up. Let's go. If you know that you can get it, let me know. Let me know. I'm about to fuck a nigga up. Let's go. If you want some, come get some. Cause where I'm from, we so big on. And everybody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows something about it.
Looking for quality Rule Zero merchandise, the Dragon Ship merchandise, and fantastic artwork for power linemen? Search no further than Redbubble, RP Thor. Let's take a look at what is available today. Looking at these artworks, you will find the highest quality artwork specific to linemen or to Rule Zero that feature each and every one of the current Rule Zero members, from Troy, Aaron, Rollo, Ryan, Paul, John, Jack, Sterling, Thor, Paul, and Glenn. As well as you have these fantastic designs for power linemen available on t-shirts, available on hats. As you can see here, amazing amount of artwork, all done by RP Thor by hand and or on multiple media. Here we go. You can get the dad hat, you can get the mouse pad. The actor t-shirt personally is my favorite, and very, very high quality. So what are you waiting for? Let's get back and let's visit RP Thor on Redbubble for your Rule Zero merchandise and your power lineman merchandise. High quality stuff. I mean, look at this art. Until next time, I'm RP Thor.